Okay, so today we're going to go over how to document the DTR for day programming when it's not a day have goal, if it's pre-vocational or career planning. So what we're going to do first is, as always, we're going to go to the service module. We're going to select the training residential program because this is where I set up the fake file and goals. What you're going to do is you're going to scroll down and you're going to find the daily tracking record. Just as before, you're going to select the individual in which you have worked with. So this is my fake client. I am PreVoc Career is the person's name. And we're writing the goal, we're writing in the data for the 19th, and we're going to hit continue. Now this individual, everything's set up exactly the same way. Nothing has changed in terms of what you will see. You'll still see the rating scale here. You'll see the initials, what the initials stand for. You'll still see the goal, the implementation, objective, service code, and the date. One thing I want you guys to pay attention to here is when it comes to the implementation, that's going to tell you when you are using each type of objective. So for career planning, you're going to see here it says the person will engage in one-on-one session one time a month with the advancing the artist facilitator. Will also engage in a small group session one time a month with the advancing the artist. Okay, sorry, artist facilitator. So then we also have the pre-vocation goal, and we'll engage in participation in daily schedule of activities, groups, meetings, reading group, workshops, excursions, all wellness, arts, and enrichment programs. For further feedback on when you are to use which type of objective, you want to go back to the team or your supervisor to gain that clarification. They both have the same goal for this example, so this person will develop the skills needed for employment opportunities. So now with that said, you have the two different objectives that are tied to the same goal. One is a career planning goal, and one is a pre-vocation goal, or objective, I should say. So we have here, with up to one verbal prompt, the person will be encouraged to attend career planning class for up to 2 hours per month for a period of 12 months. The pre-vocation goal is with up to one verbal prompt per class. The individual will be encouraged to follow her schedule, fostering the development of her pre-vocation skills for a period of 12 months. So now we have the two different goals. We have the opportunity to write data here. It's very critical that you know the time in which you work with the individual on any one specific goal. Okay, so this is not necessarily an entire day's worth of data. It could be, it could not be. Again, you're going to gain that clarification from your supervisor specific to that individual and that individual's support plan. So their support plan will dictate when they are to be using AHAB hours, career planning hours, and pre-vocation hours. So again, you'll gain that clarification from the team. Okay, now with that said, let's pretend we just worked with the person on career planning. That has a very specific time frame. It's up to 2 hours per month. Okay, so it's very critical that we become very familiar with these career planning and pre-vocation goals, because a lot of times, especially with career planning, it's a very specific time period. So you can't exceed a certain time. And for this career planning goal, we're actually going to only be using one of the 2 hours, leaving 1 hour available to use at another time. Okay, so we have career planning with up to one verbal prompt. I'm going to pretend, let's say we worked with this individual and they did it with supervision. So, or let's say we did, let's say we did some verbal cues. Let's do C, verbal cues. We're going to do the same thing as we did before. You hit continue. When you hit continue, you notice that the screen blinks. And again, I have the initial of the rating scale in which I chose, along with my initials. There's a hyperlink because I wrote the note. If you do not see a hyperlink, that means you do not have access to change or edit that note because it is not your note. This note I am creating so I can add or change or delete this note. So I'm going to go ahead and click on there. Now I'm in step 2 of the 3-step process. Okay, step 1 was choosing the rating scale. This is now step 2. Notice that the service type has been blocked out. You cannot change this. Location, this program site. You could check other program site or other if it's off location, but we're going to say it's this program site. The date is blocked out because it was in the DTR, so we chose today's date. And we now have to do a start time. So let's say this person worked on their goal from 2 p.m. Now remember, this is the one that only has up to 2 hours. So I'm going to do 2 to 3 p.m. I work with this person for 1 solid hour. It'll reflect here in the duration. Once I select all this, the duration will populate for me. I can't change any of this here because this is being calculated based on my start and end time. It's face-to-face, contact method, in person. We went to the DTR, so again, as always, service plan linked is the only option, and I can't deselect it. I can't select any other option because the type of note it is, it's service plan linked. Here include, we're going to include the additional information form. I'm going to go ahead and add that. Again, additional information form. I'm going to now hit continue. Now that I hit continue, here's the additional information form that I was looking for. And here is the resident, their name, note type, location. If any of these are left blank, you have to jump back and fix it. The person would be there. The note type would be there. It's really this location is what you're looking for. Make sure that's in there. You're also making sure that all this has been filled out. No box has been blank, and there's no question mark anywhere. Everything has been answered. Okay, that's really important for Medicaid billing. I need this whole top section, all this here, I need completed. You're reminded of the goal. You're reminded of the implementation. And you're reminded of the objective. You are also reminded what you chose. Foothold has created this line. It's not grammatically correct. We know that, but it's a foothold generated sentence. This service was the verbal cues with I am PreVoc career. Okay, now we're going to go into filling out the additional information form. Person was active, individual appeared. Now, if I fill this out, but I have conflicting information, let's say I have engaged and sad and happy. I have all these things. That would be a little confusing, I would think. So whenever you add things that are really did happen, you want to select it. You don't want to say anything that's wrong here. You want to select the ones that actually did happen. And at the bottom in the note here, you want to clarify why you chose 2 different things. So I'm actually, for argument's sake and for training purposes, I'll keep happy and sad, and I'll explain that in the note. Okay, what are the activities this person participated in? Now remember, I work with this person for only 1 hour. So if I selected everything here, that's more than an hour. So we want to be very careful with what we chose. And let's say the person worked in their WayWork program, activities that develop vocational skills and products. That makes sense because this is a career planning goal that we're working on. Okay, so now if I go here, and this column is skills learned. What were the skills they learned while working in the WayWorks? So we actually have a WayWork subsection. Let's say they talked about, or they worked on their fine art creations. Maybe they're making something of fine arts, jewelry, or notes, a notepad, and anything along the coasters, anything along the line. Okay, and let's say they talked a little bit about job or career training and developing the artist. They talked a little bit about developing things and developing their skill set, and things like that. Now, if I hit other, I have to select what other is. I have to write something here. I can't leave it blank. So if you select other, you have to indicate what other is. Okay. So I've selected these three things. It's all correspondence with the way it works. Was there progress? Yes, there was progress. Targeted next steps. Do we continue the strategy, revise, discontinue, discontinued, discuss the strategy with supervisor or other. So now here is where we want to be very careful. You are normally going to always select continue the strategy. Very rarely are you going to indicate whether you're going to stop a strategy or revise it. Because if you are going to select that, then you actually do have to work on revising it immediately. You can't say that and then not follow through with it. So we're going to just hit continue the strategy. Now here, when I enter a note, if there's anything conflicting here, I want to write that in. So the person was engaged, happy, and sad, and the person we worked on the skill set. So person's name is I'm, right? So I'm entered the session and appear to be sad. He was looking down and appeared, or she was looking down and not making eye contact. As the session started, the note writer, so it's important to refer to yourself as the note writer. The note writer engaged. I am in his fine art creations. Once the work started, I appeared to be happy and engaged in the session. As the session went on, and the note writer discussed job and career training opportunities and skills he would need, and the skills he would benefit from in the art community. Okay, so I kind of like just all made that all up, but I wanted to explain why I had happy and sad there. The note is authentic, even though I selected things here. I was able to write a little blurb here explaining the happy and sad, and also just talk a little bit about, very briefly, I do not want a novel, very briefly, some of the things here that, obviously helped change him from sad to happy. Let's say you do not have conflicting information. What do you do then? Right? So this was, all right, conflicting information. So let's say we take all this out now, and let's just keep it as happy, engaged and happy. And they worked in WayWorks program, and we're going to keep the same things we selected here. We're going to continue the strategy. Was there progress? Yes. So I'm worked on the necklace. Maybe I'll do beaded necklace, what do you call it when you have a couple or a few things to look at, display for an upcoming art / vendor show. Okay, and that would substantiate fine art creation, job career training, developing the artist, right? You would talk about all those things if you're preparing an art vendor show, right? I hit spell check. I'll do that again. Once I hit spell check, it's going to tell me what's wrong. It's going to automatically tell me the last name is the first or proper names are wrong. So ignore that. But if there's any other ones, you would see the same drop down icon with available options of, hey, did you mean this? Did you mean that? What word did you actually mean to say? But I meant to say I'm. So we're going to finish checking that, insert document, and there we go. Now, as I say with all my trainings, do not lock a note. Once you lock a note, you can no longer edit it or delete it, which is exactly what it says here. Lock progress note to prevent future edits or deletions. Okay? That means you cannot do anything with it. We run a report, we see an issue, we say, hey, we need you to fix this. I'd have to go in and unlock that note. Now, once we bill Medicaid, I'm quite sure that Medicaid, once a note has been sent for billing, it locks that, so you cannot edit it once it goes to billing. So again, this is how you document for this. Now, once I hit save, I'm now back to this original screen. Now we also have the pre-vocation. Remember here, this is where you're going to pay attention. Don't worry about the service code. I don't want you guys getting caught up on the actual code. I want you, so if someone says, hey, I need you to work on their career planning hour, and I need you to document that in their goals. We're going to write the notes very clearly so that you know exactly what it is you're looking at. This is the career planning goal, and this is the pre-vocation goal. So we're going to try to make it very clear to staff so that you guys know exactly which one to select. You're reminded of what the objective is, how exactly you are to implement, what substantiates a career planning goal or what activities, and what substantiates pre-vocational. So this will always be outlined for you. You got the goal, the implementation objective, and then the initial rating scale. And that is the end for learning how to do documentation for career planning and pre-vocation. Again, any further specific questions on your individual specifically, when you are to write a note for someone specifically, that is information you get from your direct supervisor. These training sessions are only to train you on how to do the documentation, not necessarily specifically to when in terms of programming. That you have to get from your program manager. All right, thank you guys so much.